many hours should you give to it? As we discussed, this is not the primary question, it's secondary, but it is important. Rabbeinu Yonah says in one place, also in Pirkei Avos, he says in the end of the second parak, the Mishnah says as follows, Rabbi Tarfon, Hu Omer, used to say, Lo alechem lecha ligmor, you're not obligated to finish the Torah. It's big, it's infinite. But you're also not a free man that you can neglect it. Over there, Rabbeinu Yonah says, Lo alechem lecha ligmor, you have no obligation to finish the Torah. Don't be overwhelmed by how much there is to learn that you give up before you even start, because you don't have to finish it. But don't think because you don't have to finish it that you mustn't take your obligation to learn it seriously. You've got no freedom to neglect your learning. And on that he says, don't say, since I've got no obligation to finish the work, I'm not going to hassle myself so much. I'll just learn 1 hour a day. That's somebody who's not exerting himself too much in Torah. That's considered somebody who was mevatel Talmud Torah. Sweet, you've got a nice time that you allocate, but you know you're not going to get anywhere with an hour. You really want to know what the Torah says? You really want it to guide your life? You really want to know how to do things, how to keep mitzvahs, how to do business from the Torah? You've got to know it. An hour a day is going to get you nowhere. Lo yichein adover, says Rabbeinu Yonah, don't do that. Ki eved konoi ata aleh lahagus ba yomam v'layla. You are an eved who's acquired by his master Hashem to learn it day and night. V'az tasliach es darachecha v'az taskil. And then you will succeed and you will become wise. You've got to give it more than that. It's a start, an hour. I'm not saying it's not a good start, but it's only a start. That can't be your ambition in life, to learn an hour a day. Rabbeinu Yonah says that you haven't taken Torah seriously. There's a beautiful, beautiful Mishnah Berurah in Kuf Nun Hey, when he's explaining how a person has to be kuvei itim LaTorah. He says as follows, in Sif Katan Gimel, the Shulchan Aruch said, Acha sheyatzim beis hakneses, yelech lebeis hamedrash v'yikba eis lidmud. You must have a fixed time to learn. And the Mishnah Berurah there says, Chayav Adam Lilmod b'chol yoim Torah shebichtav shehu Tanach u'Mishnah Gemara Poiskim. A person is obligated every single day to learn Tanakh, to learn Mishnah, to learn Gemara, and all the Poiskim on the Gemara. You have to do all of those every day. Now listen carefully to what he says. Ubalabatim, working men, she'einam loindim rak shloisha or dalos shas b'yom. They only learn 3 or 4 hours a day. He's going to advise them what to do during those 3 or 4 hours. But for the Mishnah Berurah, it was clear. You're a balabos. You're a working guy. Okay, you don't have that much time to learn 3 or 4 hours a day. It was clear in the Mishnah Berurah that a balabos has to learn 3 or 4 hours. I remember I was a young boy and I was in a shir, and one of the people giving the shir mentioned this Mishnah Berurah in jest. He said, the Mishnah Berurah says 3 or 4 hours a day you should do. But like, that was for his times in Radin, No. So Rabbeinu Yonah says 1 hour, can't do that. You're never going to make it in through Torah. You're never going to become anything, never going to know anything. Mishnah Berurah is kovah for everybody. 3 or 4 hours a day. That's what was expected. And then there's the most incredible Reb Chaim Volozhin. Reb Chaim Volozhin has a pirush in Pirkei Avos called Ruach Chaim. And over there he says as follows, it's in the second parak, Mishnah Daled. Hu haya omer, aseh retzono kirtzoncho, kadei sheyaseh retzoncha kirtzono. Do his will like your will, in order that he will do your will like his will. That's what the Mishnah says. U'batel retzoncha b'pnei retzono. Negate your will before his will, kadei shevatel retzon acherim b'pnei retzoncha, in order that he will negate the will of others in the face of your will. And the Ruach Chaim says in the ratio of that Mishnah, what does it mean? Do his will, Hashem's will, like your will. in order that He, Hashem, will make your will like His will. He says as follows. Lekach amar kan. Therefore, the Tana says here, Aseh retzono kirtzoncho. Do His will like your will. Ratzah lomar. What he wants to teach you is as follows. Lefachois techalok es hayom lechatzoin. At least divide your day up in half. Sheloi tiyeh melachtecha ikar v'Torah tfeile chas v'sholem. In order that your work should not be the primary and Torah the secondary thing in your life, chas v'sholem. Ki hinei hamelocha tzricha shetiyeh rak kedei chiyusoi. You need to work in order to make a livelihood, and that's enough. Or that you should have time afterwards to learn Torah. And if you do that, if you split your day exactly half for work and half for Torah, 6 hours each, Hashem will make your will like His will. Ratzalomar, what does He mean? Even at a time when you're working, He'll consider that time as if you were learning. When you come to Shemaim, He's going to say you had a 12-hour day of learning. No, you didn't. You only had 6. No. He'll make the time when you're involved in making your livelihood and your needs rewarded as if you were pursuing His. Why? Since the way you earned your livelihood was only in the manner described above, that it was there to support your learning, your whole life became a platform for your learning of Torah. And you couldn't work any less, otherwise you would become dependent on the congregation. You'd have to take charity. Chaim Volozhin says an incredible thing, and you'll take this Reb Chaim with you to Shemaim. If you manage to split your day half-half, 6 hours of work and 6 hours of Torah, when you get to Shemaim, Reb Chaim says they will reward you with 12 hours of Torah learning, because your whole life actually was a framework and setup in order to facilitate your learning. When I went through life with those 3 yardsticks in my line of sight, Rabbeinu Yonah dismissing an hour as just, beginner stuff, you're really not taking it seriously. The Mishnah Brura, 3 or 4 hours a day suitable for a balabos. And Reb Chaim, split your day in half, 6 hours, 6 hours. Then you know Torah is ikki in your life. And the Mishnah says, have memait ba'asek ba'asok b'Torah. Your progression life should always be one where you're gradually reducing your working hours and increasing your learning hours. And with that, you will build the most incredible life. A life of doing business with emunah, where you trust in Hashem, that your blessing in your work comes from your learning, that you'll never lose financially by sticking to your Seder, and you'll actually become a Ben Torah, someone who knows something in Torah, who lives Torah, who knows it, uses it, implements it in their life, and uses it as the guiding light in their life. And the Mishnah Brura, he explains on the Shulchan Aruch that we just learned, when it says you never miss that time. Even if you think you're going to make a lot of money by missing the Seder, don't miss it. That's called doing business with emunah. He says like this, V'ish kazeh hu mi ba'alei emunah. This person's a Baal emunah. Shemamin u'betach b'Hashem. He trusts Hashem. That's where the place for bitochen in Hashem comes. Not to work less, but I'd never have to give up my learning time in order to make my livelihood. That's the space for bitochen. Shelo yechsa lo mizonosav al yadei zeh. He knows he'll never lose out on a cent by sticking to his Seder. Yerushalmi, and he quotes Yerushalmi. I'm just going to read you the lashon of the Korban Eidah there in that Yerushalmi. He says, Amar is a person who says, Ein ani mevatel hashah shekavati lilmod Torah b'shvil havochos mamon. I will never leave my time that I fixed for learning Torah just to make money. Imrol sheyavu li revach yavu hu me'atzmoi me'akadosh baruch hu af la'achar she'egmor kvias limudi. If I'm supposed to make the money, Hashem will work out that I will make the money after I've finished my Seder of learning. That's the place for bitachon in Hashem. That's called nosasa v'nosata be'emunah. You did business with emunah. You never left your learning to go and make money. You knew and trusted Hashem that He would make you the money that you were going to make without you having to neglect your learning. And so, in conclusion to this year, how much time should you learn? That's the secondary question. The primary thing is that you learn every day and every night, and that it's fixed and doesn't move for anything in the world. And then spend your life growing those hours. You start at 1, move to 3, 4, have your ambitions to work 6 hours, learn 6 hours. Imagine that life. It's possible. Rabbi Nechunya ben Akana says it's possible. There are going to be tough decisions you're going to make along the way and many pressures that you're going to have to withstand to hold that, but it's doable. Certainly your livelihood will not be affected in any way. What an incredible, blessed life we've been gifted with. If you have bitachon in Hashem, you can set up your day however you choose.